Welcome back to Hash Pie and Friends, folks. It's a great day here in the studio. As always, I've got my main homie, Brian Terp Wizard, over here.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
And I'm very happy to have this special guest tonight. We have none other than Dre with the IG Hashy Girl 420.
What up?
It's very good to have you in here. Today, we're going to talk a little about the industry, a little bit of industry talk that we do every now and then. And since all three of us here are either current or former badge owner, occupiers, so we can talk about our experiences in the industry. But with you in particular, Dre, we can talk about women in the industry and some of the positive things, some of the negative things, maybe some of the things we'd like to change. And we've all been in here for several years, so it's safe to say that we know a little bit more than some of these other newcomers that come into the industry. So we've seen a lot. So thanks for joining us, Dre.
Yeah.
So tell us, when did you get started in when did you get badged?
So I probably go back about almost 6 years ago. I started with Keith Cola. I always give them a shout out. Eric Knudsen is my boy. And so
they were trailblazers. Good. Keith Cola was a real good company. They set a lot of trends.
Yeah, absolutely.
So were you there in the Keith days?
He was already, maybe in 200 locations by the time I joined the company.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So they're well established.
Yeah, well established. I took the mountain territory, which was the hardest territory for them to conquer.
So doing like sales rep, getting their product into the dispos.
Sales rep, yep. I was on the road a lot building that brand. So the cool thing was, like, when I started with Eric, they were doing about 50,000 a month in the entire year. Actually, no, 50, not a month, per year. And I took it up to 1.5 million my first year.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa! That's amazing. That's tenfold. I mean, that's some big numbers.
Big numbers, massive growth. It took a lot of time on the road, but I made so many friends that I still have good connections today. I mean, I had a girl. I want to say it's like Colorado Canna girl came down today from Rifle. And it's like some of these people that I met on the road 5 years ago, we've stayed in touch all this time. They're good friends. It's been a great thing. So
it's always fun to stay in touch with the homies and the smoke dogs through the industry that you started with, and the ones that were able to endure it and didn't go running back home right away.
Exactly. Man, it's tough. It's been a tough 5 years. I've seen a lot of stuff happen. I've worked for several brands since then. My most current brand is Mountain Select. So slinging that hash.
Man. One of my favorite companies. Shout out Mountain Select.
Yep.
Thank you for making that fire. They make premium like nobody else. So if you haven't had their premium rosin, go check it out.
Yep. And the owners are solid, good people. I've known TJ's been in the industry for a while. He was with Dink by Pank. He was with Harmony.
Nice.
Started as a bud tender. Literally worked his way up to an owner badge, which shows like anyone can do it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like you're talking about with Keith Cola, you took them from 50 G's to over a million. So that's some serious numbers. So, I mean, were there men pulling numbers like that?
So, Denver was a huge market for them. And so Denver was putting up big numbers. I just don't think they knew that the Mountain Territory could do what it could do.
Right.
And so
that was your stomping ground. You knew what you were doing.
That was my stomping ground. I was a mountain girl through and through. I snowboard, I ski, I hike, I do all that stuff. I have a lot in common with those people. They're very down to earth. And so it wasn't even a job for me. Like, I literally just hit the road and I got to kick it and smoke with cool people and do cool shit. I would hit the mountain with a lot of them. And so it was a good fit for me. And then, of course, Keith benefited from that. So,
well, it sounded like you had a lot of success, but so did you come across any obstacles being female as a sales rep? Were there buyers that wouldn't take you as seriously as maybe say like a male rep or anything like that?
I really didn't hit that sort of wall until I joined the hash world. Yeah, it's been real, and I've dabbled in both markets. I'll just say that. And there's a lot of boys that don't want girls in the sandbox, especially in the hash world. And so that's been, a learning experience, but I feel like
it's very common. I mean, so I worked in the industry, and I was badged, and I worked in different labs. I was lab manager. I was lead extraction, and I would seriously see other men in the lab not give the women the time or the space that they would give other dudes coming in.
Right.
I mean, they would bring in literally these hippie stoner wooks dudes, and to teach them instead of bringing in actual females who had the experience,
Right.
You know, and
Right.
or the actual want to learn, you know. And I'm like, man, why are you passing these people up?
Yeah.
So, and then people, even females that were there paying the dues, doing packaging, gramming,
Right.
who were, you know, trying to work their way up and do that, and they would still get looked over.
Wow.
So
Always,
it's
yeah.
ridiculous. It's
Right.
ridiculous.
And
you know?
that was like, actually, like I saw it more than on like a storefront level or like any of the purchasing managers. It was more on a corporate level. Like I've worked for several different companies, and they've always had the good old boys club. And so even though I was putting up numbers and doing my thing, there was nowhere to go. They were going to keep me pigeonholed where I was at. And so, yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it in labs. I've seen it, you know, in production and in packaging and in on a sales level and like even all the way up to corporate, you know. So it's getting better, and we have some real like female trailblazers in this industry that just blow it up.
No, absolutely. It's there are a lot of unsung female heroes and trailblazers, like you're saying, that are that don't get talked about. So recently, I was at a testing facility, and any marijuana testing facility, you know, they have to be badged and everything too. Their lead testing person was a female, and she was killing the game, but she wasn't getting any recognition, you know.
Yeah.
And this is one of the lead testing facilities in town.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, you're killing it. You got all this cutting edge equipment. You're doing liquid. You're doing gas. You know, it's like good for you, you know. And I was like, she was like, yeah. I was like, that's awesome, man. But you know, people don't get talked about like that.
Yeah.
So now that you've moved from Keef Cola, and you've been in the industry and things like that.
Yeah.
So were there any other type of obstacles being female? Did you see men advance faster or?
Always. And like I said, there was always kind of that good old boy mentality. You know, there was one company in particular that I was slinging hash for that literally like I started with them from the get-go, and they brought in a friend, and they literally gave him like the biggest piece of the pie, even though I had worked to build the brand and the name and things like that. And so that happened to me in 2019. And so I actually ended up, when that happened, I ended up taking a break from the industry the rec industry for about a year.
I mean, sometimes you need it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need it.
Yeah.
So what about before the industry? So private industry, you know, private growers and things like that. Cause I mean, I've been growing for a long time.
Right.
But,
So
I mean, so if it wasn't for for us before the industry started, there would be no industry. So we developed SOPs that nobody else had. We developed grow techniques. We developed hash making things. And that's how this industry got started. But now they want to blackball us, and they were like, oh, well, you know, you've got a record because you went to jail for this exact same thing. You know,
Yeah.
now you're unhireable. No, fuck
OG
that, you know.
status right
and then
there.
they don't want to give us credit for when we're coming in. So I know from experience from writing SOPs, and then they just steal the SOP, and then they take credit for it, and then
Yeah.
it becomes their property. And you know, I know there was women trailblazers out there too that were making their own edibles and making their own hash, and
Right.
so I just hate seeing people get taken advantage of like
Yeah.
that, and then they want to advance a $10 employee to do what you just wrote down, and then now you're out the door.
yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And I hate to see where they, like you're talking like pigeonholing females into a certain category, you
Right.
know, and like, oh well, you're not going to be good for processing or sales. You're marketing. You're just a booth girl, you know. It's like, no, well, fuck that.
Oh, and
You
it's
know?
like, well, one of the rarest things you ever seen or ever see. I don't even know that I've seen one in the industry. Maybe you know, female extraction.
It's rare.
Yeah, oh, so rare.
It's like you'll see a unicorn first,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
especially in the license industry. Yeah.
Which is crazy because I know a bunch of really solid females who are actually like private growers and stuff like that who really want to get into it. But it's like you apply for those positions. One, they're hard to come by. Everyone wants to be in extraction. Everyone wants to be in solventless extraction right now. And so, but they definitely get overlooked. Like, are you kidding me? You have like, you know, 10 guys that have been involved in some black market hash, and you have one female who's been working her way up in the industry and is a private grower and wants to get into it, and she's not getting a shot. That's
and they're definitely not going to listen to her because she's more soft-spoken, and then you got these dudes that want to come in and just like hound dog their way over it and yell and be loud, and they're like, no, my way is better, and they're like this, or I've been here longer. You know, it's all about education, technique, and, you know, how long you've been doing it. I feel you on that. And then it's on all positions. So, I mean, like, even Brian may know, of being from a bud tender, I've seen, I hate it when they want to just put the pretty face as like the bud tender, you know, out there. You know, let's get some knowledgeable people behind the counter. You know, they don't necessarily have to be pretty faces, but as long as they know what they're talking about. So I hate it when they want to put a pretty face over knowledge, you know, and it's like, come on, man, we're supposed to be teaching people, make sure they're getting the right meds or rec to make their day straight.
Absolutely. You know, that was something that I ran into all the time, trying to get into the industry, is just trying to show people that I have knowledge and that I have experience from things that, you know, aren't necessarily from the industry, because it was pretty new at the time. You know, I got involved in the industry in 2015-16, and I got my badge in 2016. But before that, I mean, all my experience with private growers and moving out to Colorado in 2013 and just really getting to know that side of things before the legal market was a huge build. That was definitely a struggle for me because, you know, owners were very flat out about how they wanted their floor sales to go. Mm-hmm. They want girls who are very knowledgeable, but I mean, it was shocking, but they were very honest about how they want pretty women there too. Mm-hmm. So getting onto the floor in the first place and having an opportunity at the DAB in 2016 was very cool for me, because that was my footing into the industry. And then I was able to just basically work my way into what I'm able to do now, because it took me almost 2 solid years of bud tending to then transition into what I'm doing now and just the things I'm learning. So I'm very thankful for that. And I'm very thankful that I've had to work through that. And it would be interesting to see how things go now, because, you know, everything is so mixed. You know, you have every size, shape, color, person, gender working in the industry, and I love it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely getting more mixed out there. What's up, people? It was definitely more suits when the industry first started, because they were so strict about who could get badges and who can get that. You had to live here for a year. You couldn't have any like drug violations, things like that. So all you saw were suits and money people.
Right.
Were the names behind the badges. And they didn't care. They were just coming in for the money and all that. There's no heart in it. And so, but now you're starting to see a turn. You're starting to see people who've been in it for a long time and actually played their money a little bit right. And they're actually starting these companies, you know, like you were saying, starting out from just regular employees, and now they're red badges because they did the right thing, which is rare. It's really far and few between, but because it's a cutthroat industry.
Yeah.
But it's good to see that. It's good to see more, don't really want to say mom and pop, but just more grassroots operations starting back up, you know, instead of being more corporate.
Right. And I don't even think, though, like the consumers understand how hard it is to run a company in this industry. Like, I have watched so many things go wrong from a production standpoint, and then like the MED and their regulation and changing packaging every 6 months. And like, you know, you waste packaging, have to redo everything. I literally one time had a store with a ruler that measured the size font that was on the box and rejected my order. Like up in Parachute, like far. Rejected my order based off of like this ruler font and stuff like that. Wow. And so, it's been, and that costs money, like to the companies and stuff like that. And so,
it used to be real cutthroat. You don't have like a weekend to change everything, but I guess that maybe they give you a little bit more leeway time now. I mean, no.
I don't know.
You're going to get that printed ASAP.
I got rejected the other day at a store, so I was like, oh man. just the way the manifest was. And so it's still pretty strict, but you know, the ups and downs you have to go through. And even like, I remember like Keith, we were running into 420 and they didn't order packaging before Chinese New Year. Chinese New Year, they're like done. And so like we were like out of packaging until like a week before 420. And then literally like all hands on deck getting soda everywhere. And we had the big treehouse event up in Aspen for X Games and like ran on packaging issues for that. So yeah, no, there's a lot to like overcome. And these owners, you know, like Mountain Select, TJ and Chris work 7 days a week. Our grow, we're gonna be able to bring plants in. We passed our inspection with the MED today, so that's dope. Yeah.
Congratulations, good job.
Single source, we're super excited about that. And like, but I have never seen people work so hard. Like literally, they're working, you know, 14, 15-hour days, 7 days a week.
You heard it here, folks. Once this flower hits, it's gonna be insane.
It's gonna be insane. Yeah, just wait for the genetics coming in because it's gonna be big. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited about it. So another thing I wanted to kind of touch on was, so when bad things happen in the industry, it seems like they highlight the women that they want to come down on, like they want to penalize. And so like that whole looping controversy a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So most of the bud tenders that went to jail for that were female because they were hiring female bud tenders.
Right.
You know? And then the one manager, operating manager, she was female. She did like serious time. She did like 30, 60 days or something like that.
Jeez, that's crazy.
You know?
Yeah.
And you never hear about a grow getting busted or MIP getting busted and then taking the employees to jail, you know, and making an example of them. You know, that's what I was trying to do. And I was like, this isn't that big of a deal. You know, they got caught in a loophole, is basically what it was. And they fucking blasted these poor females all over the place, you know, so like it ruined their job with the MED. They can't get another marijuana job. They wouldn't be able to go to another state to do that, you know, because there's the same rules. But it's just, I don't know. It just made me, I was like, man, that's not fair. Why are you going to blast these people and then put this poor woman in jail for 60 days or however long it was, to make a poor example of it, you know, and then make media stories. And, you know, all the media is connected. So you've got Westward and the TV stations. They're all running the same story, you know. And so my point is that they're not as quick to do that if it was men involved, unless it was women involved. You know, it's a bigger story when women's involved.
Right.
It's a shame.
Yeah. And especially men with big money.
Yes, that's calling the shots.
Yeah.
Damn, somebody's seeing through these trees. There you go.
Yeah, they're not going to put them on blast, that's for sure.
Yeah, but especially when it's the men running the companies,
Right.
and the media sources and all that. Yep, you're absolutely right, because you know, it's probably male editors and producers. Yep.
Right.
Man, good call there. Good call. Yeah, so I mean, since then the industry has gotten better. I'm seeing. You definitely don't see female red badges, you know, that's really rare. I wish we saw more of them. You do see a lot of like upper management, but see, the only people who really make money are going to be the red badges.
Right.
You know, they're the ones who's making the real money.
That's right.
And you know, it really needs to change. We need to see more female owners out there. We need to see more black-owned business, female black marijuana business. That would be fucking phenomenal. There's a lot of talent out there. There's the edible chefs out there really know what they're doing. They're making great products, and their recipes are getting stolen. They're slapping the corporate name on there, and it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
So,
and shout out to all the transgender people working in the industry. They're working very hard, and they're recognized, and we see you.
No, absolutely. Yeah, you know, and if you ever go to your favorite dispo, you know, remember to always tip all of your bud tenders and treat them with respect, and they're going to send you the same respect back, because all of them, you know, whether it's black, white, female, transgender, straight, it doesn't matter. They go through all the stress. Yeah, and especially when they get haters going through there. So it's, you know, they have one of the toughest jobs out there. So, and we're in there more often than we'd like to say. So,
yeah.
So cool, but so in the cannabis industry, you're not seeing a lot of red badge owners, but in hemp and CBD, I just want to touch on it just slightly. I am seeing a lot of female owners and bosses doing their thing. You've seen a lot of like the cottage laws where they're making their own home products, topicals and edibles, and getting it out there, and then starting bigger companies. You're seeing farms starting to be owned by female owners, seed companies. So CBD and hemp, the woman bosses, y'all are doing it right. Congratulations. Y'all are federally legal. You're doing it. Keep it up. That was the right path.
Yep.
Maybe what I wanted to get at is that maybe men are just hard-headed out here and they want to do the cannabis and they'll take the bigger risk because they know they can get away without being blasted like we were talking about,
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, why do the women want to get involved if they're just going to get blasted if they're going to get in trouble?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it seems like they're not getting treated fairly.
Yeah, no, I feel that. And I've seen a lot of, good CBD companies started by women, and they use their women networks. And, if there's one thing us women like to do is talk. Mm-hmm. And when we have a good product or something that works for us, we share it with everybody. And so they've done a good job in the hemp industry anyway, in the CBD industry of doing that and getting the moms. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I love the way they network together.
Yeah.
Like, talking about, the moms will get together and they'll do their thing.
Yeah.
So what about, how's your relationship with other women in the cannabis industry? Do you guys like get together and power up as like a big female Voltron?
I see it.
We do.
I literally see it on IG.
Yeah, we absolutely do.
Powerful shit.
Yeah, it is. I just I'm such a woman fan. I am not one of those women that are like haters on other women or judging them. I'm like, what can I do to help you grow? What can I share with you? Yeah. I'm like, if you know something that'll help me, great. If I know something that'll help you, great. Let's join together. Let's like roll and help each other. Totally. And really, even in the black market, like the women stick together, and they're few and far between. And, but I'll tell you what, push each other business all the time. And if I can give it to one of my girls over, not to say I don't love men, I love you all. But I do try to support that because it's hard, especially in that industry. It's a little bit harder for females. And so I can't tell you how many times I've like talked to people on like Instagram or something, and they're talking to me through like a page that maybe it doesn't show my picture or whatever, and they're calling me bro. Hey brother, brother, all muscle arms and brothered out, and then
that's what I love about seeing women in the industry that I've worked with, in all the different positions that I've had to, is so especially when I saw it was a vault situation, so they were running the vault, they were running all the back stock. You're talking millions of dollars of merchandise, and they have to handle all the sales in and out and the appointments and who's coming and loading the trucks and security and all this stuff. And when there was men involved, it was just like, that was like the weak link of the chain. Right. But once the women are involved, they're empowering each other, they're helping each other out when the men are like kind of competing and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and I see that a lot, and I think that's great. We used to say, how many hash makers does it take to screw in a light bulb? And well, if it's going to be female hash makers, it's just going to take 2 because they empower each other. Right. But if you're talking about men, it's going to take 100. Yeah. It's going to take 1 to climb the ladder, and 99 to kick it off from underneath them.
Right. Facts. That's facts.
Yeah.
It is cutthroat. So yeah, that's true.
No, so even when I was doing my private grows, and I would hire friends to come in and trim my plants, my legal limit, and I would help them, and I would pay the females more than I would pay the men, because the men, I was like, here, I'm going to give you $10 an hour until you can reach this to this rate that I want, then you'll get 15. But the women over here, they're going to go and get grand. They're like, what's that? I was like, well, when the men work, they want to compete with each other. They tell big fish, big dick stories. They want to compete with each other. They want to see how fast they can go through it. They power through it, so the work gets sloppy. Yeah. And then there's this machismo in the air, and it's like, instead of being like calm. And when the women work, they get through it. Everything looks pretty. They clean up after themselves. They make snacks. They're talking good about each other.
We love making snacks.
So they hit their quota right off the bat. So I was like, boom, I'm gonna go ahead and pay you more right off the bat than the men do. I mean, there's already a wage gap, so might as well just try and prevent it.
Yeah. Well, and we're pretty efficient, like I can get through so much shit like in 20 hours that would take most people 50 hours,
Yes.
And so we do have our hustle game on when it comes to things that we're doing. doing, and we just want to get shit done. Especially if you're a mom, man, you learn to get shit done real fast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love seeing a lot more of the women in these upper management and positions that you started seeing men at when the industry first started. For example, like it was always a man running all of the female bartenders around, you know, and he was like he was coach of the volleyball team, you know. So now I like seeing now like more of a more female staff and working together and up in higher management and working. So it's coming. They're coming out here. They're getting more respect, but it's just a harder road for them, and it really sucks.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I've seen some female. You've worked with one. It's a powerhouse female purchasing or like just store managers, like Denrec. Like I'll give a shout out to Sarah because she's the shit, man.
Yep, shout out to Denrec.
Like whenever I talk to her, the girl runs so much stuff there. Like she just owns it, and I'm just like in admiration. And so it's yeah,
good.
Like,
She's really got her craft down.
She's
been doing it to the point where I mean it's water to her. She bends that. She's good.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. And so yeah, but a lot of like, you know, I deal with a lot of female purchasing managers now, and you know, it's hit or miss. Some of them are nice, really good. We become best friends, and some of them are just like very cold, and it's like, hey, we're supposed to be like,
yeah, just, you know, we're working together. We're on the same team. Yeah. So have you had any benefits of being a woman in the industry? You know, I don't want to get sleazy or anything, but you know, I don't know if men have ever treated you better because you've walked in, or hopefully women, you know, like, oh, hey, good to see you here. You know, it's easy to talk to you. And
absolutely. So like, I always say hash and titties. Like it sounds like it.
Man, that sounds like a great album. That's gonna be your first mixtape.
Right.
Hash and titties.
Yeah, and so there are definitely advantages. There are some big deals that I've come across, or that I've done, or that I've dealt with that would not have happened if I was not an attractive female. So it's like if I would have just been some guy, they may not have given him the time of day. But I do, like, on some levels, tend to get more appointments, more lunch dates, more time, you know what I mean?
There you go.
And so, you know, and I don't knock that, like, you know, I love that. So it's,
no, I see what you mean, because I've been in a little bit of wholesale before, and then I've delivered product, or I've gone to get signatures, and it's always just real cold and hard and fast. All right, now get out of here. You know, we're busy to do that. But for them to be more personable to you, that makes for a better business relationship, you know, and things go forward faster, and no good for you. So what type of things do you think we need to change to help women advance faster or at the same rate as men in the industry?
So I literally think that those are changes that are going to have to take place on a corporate level, some more with the red badge owners. And they're going to have to value the women that work for them more, be willing to move them up, not bring in boys that you were in elementary school with that have never been in the industry, but the females who are out there doing the work, getting your brand out there, that sort of thing, moving them up, giving them bigger positions, because it's like I said, the biggest thing is you get pigeonholed into one spot, and they don't want to move you up or have you branch out or do anything. And you know, and that also happens when you're really good at what you do. So like just being good at the mountain territory, like they didn't want to move me from the mountain territory. Because it tanks, you know, after you don't have the same person. Relationships are kind of everything in this industry. And so
and there's seasonal flows too.
Yeah.
Like the sales in the industry, they ebb and flow, and they come and go depending on what time of year it is.
Right.
So yeah, you don't want them setting you up for failure so that you can't go out and expand. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's actually real common in the industry.
He said, "Looks get you in the door. The work ethic keeps you there." That's the fact right there.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
No, and she's a real boss. You know, I mean, you've got your trade down.
I do.
You're salesmen for all the regions out here. I know that any company would be lucky to have you on. So
thank you.
Good for Mountain Select for bringing you on. You're doing a hell of a job. I'm seeing Mountain Select everywhere.
Yeah. No, I'm busting my tail with those guys. So it's just the three of us. There's three of us. That's it. We don't have a production team. We don't have an extraction team. Like the owners, you know, TJ does all the washing. I do all the sales, and we're doing some big things. And so, and I'm super stoked, you know, that we're going to team up. We're going to do a big collab that hasn't dropped yet. And then we're doing our glass artist collabs where we're dropping terpenes terp pearls with a new glass artist.
Yeah. I've
Every
seen those.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're stoked about the things, those types of things, and bridging that gap between the community who maybe is not into glass, but is into hash. And some of these people find their first terp pearl and they are like through the roof. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
So how about, how big of a market share are women and female sales for buying hash and flower as compared to the rest of the market? What big of a chunk do they have?
Man, 4%, 5%, maybe. I actually.
What about on a retail scale? So as like people walking into the dispo, do you have an idea of like female to male ratios, who's buying and who's spending the most money? Because I see chicks walking out of there throwing stacks down for hash, walking out. They're spending more with smaller bags, so they're buying finer products.
Oh yeah. So like in the hash world, there's not a lot of females. There's not a lot of females who, I've met some pretty, a fair amount of females that are dabbing, but for the most part, how many females do you think came in while you were a bud tender and were buying hash?
Yeah, it was few and far between that you had like a single. I did have like a couple of regulars that would come in and buy some, different hydrocarbons. But yeah, you're right. It's now that I really think about it in retrospect, there's really not a lot of.
So why is that? Why do you think that there's less of a market share of women buying concentrates as compared to men? Do you think it's education? Do you think they're not being accepted into circles when the smoking's going on? They're just being secondary. The dudes are all sitting there, oh dude, I got this and I got that. Here, babe, smoke this real quick.
Facts.
That's you literally pulled the image right out of my head, because all I can picture now is the male partner buying the concentrate, picking the flavor out, just getting what he wants, not really asking her what her, because she's like, I dab what he dabs. And then that's it.
You hear that, dudes? Yeah. Quit hash blocking.
Stop hash blocking. Get your girl to smoke some hash.
Yeah, let her in the circle. Have her pick some out. Be a sexy dude. Terps. Ask her what her favorite terp profile is.
Get her answer. And
then, there you go.
Wrap that shit up in a bow and give it.
There you go.
So what can we do now to help that? Now we've put the word out there. We tell people, expand your circle, let your girls in.
Yeah.
Now maybe we can do some. Now we need to focus on education towards women and female circles. Let's get some female educators out there. Let's get that going. I think the future is going to be great for hash education.
That's a fact, and I don't think a lot of women understand terpenes and how those play an effect. And I have morning dabs, I have midday dabs, I have evening dabs.
Facts.
I do not do sativa indica hybrid. That's a whole nother conversation. But I have stuff that
profiles.
I'll only dab in the morning, and some of it is funny. Someone was like, oh my God, the banana mac, put my ass down. I'm like, that's my 6 a.m. dab. That is, so it's different for everybody's body.
Yeah.
But I literally will choose my dabs based off of what I have going on that day. Do I have to do a bunch of sales stuff and very little momming? Do I have to do a bunch of networking? And I want my mood different for that.
I love this. I love talking about dosing. So treating in different elements and stuff. So what about in particular? So, everybody has back pain. Everybody has neck pain, and the smoke's good. But let's tell us about something that's individual women. So how about, treating menstrual cramps and treating migraines, and so tell me about things that are real particular to that women that can be more beneficial. Yeah, and then how do these help you?
Yeah, well, no, I literally so I probably have probably a bigger head stash than most men I know. And so, do you do flour for different things and then hash for some things? Is it like that, or do you just straight need something strong? So let me tell you, I just got back into flour, to be quite honest.
Okay.
I've been just dabbing for the last year and a half, and so I just never smoke. I just didn't smoke that much flour the last year and a half, And so I'm starting to get back into that and figure out how I can make it beneficial to me, how I like to smoke it, how I think you're going to teach me how to roll some blunts because that's not my.
Yep.
I can show everyone how to dab. Like, you know, I do cold start dabs. Like, and so I literally, though, like in my hash vault, like I have certain strains that give you more of a body high. And so I know that if I'm having a rough day, like menstrual cycle or women shit or something like that, that I need something that's going to hit the body more. And then if I'm having a rough day emotionally, I have something that's going to be more heady and hit the head more. And so, but I mean, literally I've done like, you know, sometimes edibles.
Edibles are great because they're so like time release, but you got to be careful on that. But I actually had a friend and she was dealing with the miscarriage and she wasn't a big smoker and she kind of liked edibles every now and then, but she just started upping her dose of her edibles to treat with the depression and help her get through it.
Yeah.
And it really helped her. I mean, she was sleeping a lot,
Yeah.
you know, but she was able to wake up refreshed and kind of get things going. And so she was like, thank you. And I was like, no, you're very welcome. I'm glad I was able to help you. I could never imagine, you know, going through anything like that.
Right.
So.
And my saving grace, like this last 4 or 5 months has been rosin edibles. And so I know those are just hitting the market, but I'll tell you what, like I don't do well with distillate. It just makes me jittery. It makes my head race.
I agree. Yeah. I get panic attacks if it's too strong.
Yeah. So, starting to do rosin edibles and finding those in different places. I mean, I had rosin nerds rope from Skyline Canteen.
Yeah. Those are good. Shout out Skyline Canteen.
Yeah. They're the shit. They're killing it.
Yeah. They got the caramels too, the salted caramels.
Yeah. They're good. They did a collab with Fenario Farms for the rosin edibles, and that shit was fire. And he makes like 300 milligram, 600 milligram rosin edibles. Obviously I can't eat that at once, so it's kind of nice because like at night, if I'm before I take a bath, whatever, like eat a piece of the nerd's rope, right? Like take a dab, chill out, and then by the time my dab is wearing down, my edibles are kicking in, and you get this nice like relaxation piece like at the end of the night.
Nice.
And so it really like helped my sleep. I had a hard time sleeping before I started, doing a lot of edibles. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of keeps you asleep because how it digests.
Keep from tossing and turning.
Yeah.
That's what I really like about edibles.
Uh-huh.
Cool. Well, we're getting a little bit towards the end. Something else I wanted to touch down on. So let's talk about like maybe the future of, of processing, hash making, the industries, stuff like there. Hopefully we'll see more processing, female processors in there doing their thing.
Come on, ladies.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to say step your game up, but you're doing a great job. But let's get you noticed more. Come on, guys.
Right.
Let's give them a chance.
Yeah.
We're seeing more females in the grows now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really loving that. You're seeing a lot of love come out in these plants.
Yeah.
Shoot, when are you gonna do a wash? Are you gonna get in there and move the paddle around? And
yeah, I can wash. Yeah.
Yeah.
My son is my son's 20. My oldest son is 21. I'm old. And so he's a hash maker.
Yes.
And he is slaying the game at 21. You've had some of his hash.
Really good.
Yeah.
He makes a lot of people.
It's stupid fire.
Yeah, he makes he runs circles around a lot of people, and by the time that he's quote unquote older, his knowledge right now is super solid, and he's gonna be just keep on keeping on that because he's where he's at. It's golden.
Right. I think he's going to come in and do some washes with Mountain Select and stuff like that. But I'm a proud mom. I'm like, man, I did something right.
Maybe y'all can do a mom and son wash.
Oh my gosh, we should do that. Let's do that.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yep. Here we go.
Yeah. All right, TJ, you got to make this happen.
Yeah. Ready? He'll let me wash.
Good. So, and then what about? So you've already told us about the future of Mountain Select. They've got this ginormous, huge, I don't say huge, but this fantastic growth. So the high-end flower coming out. I'm really excited about that, So I know you're always out there looking for, more sales and getting people into more shops. So I see you hustling and out there. Do you have any goals that you're trying to reach, any short-term and long-term goals that you want to share, or any boss moves that you want, or anything that you can share with other female out there to help them get their plays going?
Literally, so my handle is #420. If there are any females who want to get into the industry, and I'm rec or private, hit me up because I literally will be a wealth of information for you. And so in terms of short-term and long-term goals, I mean, ideally, I just want to make Mountain Select the biggest brand that there is. I mean, there's a lot of love that goes into the work there. There's a lot of love in the ownership, and there's a lot of love for the cannabis community in general.
Yeah,
and
you're a team player. You know the long-term effect.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I totally am. And so obviously I want to grow that brand. I have I do some private stuff. And so obviously blowing that up as well. I just literally want to bring quality hash to the people. It's done wonders for my life. And obviously even on down to my kids, my
You're
son.
always smiling every time I see you smiling. So it must be, if you got good hash, you must be smiling.
That's
so.
it. That's it. Quality hash to the people. That's my goal.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you so much, and you shared so much with us today. It was so enlightening to talk about that.
Thank you.
We could talk all night about what could be done better with women in the industry, but I think we're getting there. We know some things we got to do, and we can always have some improvement there. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, good for having you.
Yep.
My man Brian over here, thanks for your input.
Yeah, of course.
It's
Thank
always
you
good
so
having
much.
your input there on there, man. And
Thank you.
man, it was a good session. So Hashy Girl _420. I'm Hash Pie. Thanks for joining us, folks. Until next time, we'll smoke again.
Peace.
Out.